Welcome, my friend. Please share and subscribe to watch more.
Everyone has different needs when it comes to the backyard. Will you do the design and maintenance yourself or let someone else handle the work? Do you want something that stays the same over the years or something you can change each year? In particular, you'll want to consider the following important aspects when looking at backyard design ideas: available space watering, especially if you live in a draft-ridden area, regular upkeep, including weeding and mowing around the area. Whether you want perennial plants that regrow each year or annual plants you will replace, the best landscape design for you is one that fits with your personal home design style. It should make you want to spend time in your backyard and fit with your lifestyle. Check out the following garden ideas to get inspired to make your backyard even better. 50 backyard landscaping ideas to inspire you this year. 1. Mountains of plants. Carving out circular areas or curved paths among the green grass is a common idea for incorporating flowers into the backyard design. Note how the homeowner has placed taller plants in the center of these areas and surrounded them with colorful flowers closer to the ground. This almost gives the areas a mountainous look, but the intent is to draw the eye upward. Having several separate but defined spaces in the garden allows you to experiment with different types of plants rather than sticking with a few favorites. 2. Wandering paths backyard landscaping. Though the backyard deck shown here is relatively small, it feels big with the stone path leading you on a journey throughout the space. This would be great for taking a meditative walk to clear your mind in the morning. Using flat rocks rather than traditional pavers gives the path a more natural feel. The patio and pergola create a separate hangout space, and stone edging helps keep the garden design weed-free. There's just enough green grass here to lend color to the space, but you won't have to spend a lot of time mowing every weekend. 3. Focus on the fire. Who doesn't love a fire pit in the backyard? Many backyard ideas incorporate this popular space. The brick patio is essential for safety when lighting a fire, so don't forget to plan for that. Though the garden is definitely well designed and intentional, it serves more as a backdrop than a focal point. Sticking with green plants allows you and your guests to focus on the fire and on each other. Best of all, green plants like this tend to be perennial, so you won't have to fuss with planting new things year after year. 4. Finding room for color. Having a grassy area with straight lines certainly makes it easier to mow, but you might feel like you're missing out on all the color that flowers add to the space. That won't happen if you take advantage of this backyard landscaping idea. The fire area uses small pebbles rather than bricks to keep things safe, but poles around the exterior of the space help define the area vertically. There are places to hang flowers and sparkling lights to give ambient lighting when the sun goes down. Large barrels around these poles are a creative way to add some flowers. 5. Design for first-timers. If you're looking for backyard design ideas that are perfect for beginners, check out this idea. The curves on this landscaped area are easy to do on your own, and they've simply placed large plants or flowers in this space. Bushes like these are easy to care for and will last year after year with a bit of trimming. To get the beautiful look of flowers shown here, let the nursery take care of the flower design. Simply purchase hanging planters of flowers and plant them into the ground rather than keeping them in their pots. 6. Mini makeover. If you'd like to do something with your backyard, but aren't really into backyard ideas that dominate the space, you'll love this idea. Simply dig out a small area for flowers around the outside of the home and use bricks as edging. The large green plants here are hostas, which are ridiculously easy to take care of and come back year after year. You can also get striped varieties if you want something a little different. Pair those with the color of impatiens or any other type of color flower you like, and you've got a great match. This homeowner has taken things a step further by matching the flowers in the garden with the flowers in the window box. Best of all, you could complete a design like this on your own in a single weekend. 7. A waterfall of flowers. This beautiful look is perfect for almost any type of garden. Though it looks like a pot of flowers has been tipped over, with the flowers spilling out, it's actually carefully designed to look that way. You can purchase a large pot like this at most garden shops. There will be a flat bottom that places the opening on the side. While you do want flowers that look like they're spilling, you'll have to plant some in the ground to create that same effect. 8. Just swinging in the garden. What good is a well-planned backyard design if you're not going to actually use the space? Here, rustic stones create a path through the landscaped area to reach a garden swing. It's the perfect spot to relax the day away. If you'd like even more color than this look provides, consider adding vining flowers to the pergola above the swing. Sweet-smelling varieties will make this an even better place to hang out. 9. Modern patio. If you live in an area that doesn't get a lot of rain, you'll want to think twice about backyard landscaping ideas that focus on lush greenery and mounds of flowers. Here, the backyard is primarily made up of wooden planks and stone squares, which don't require water. Small areas of native plants help create that backyard feel that you want without driving up your water bill. If you're not sure which plants are native to your area, speak with a professional landscaper or someone who works in a local nursery. 10. Keeping weeds at bay. One of the biggest challenges in most garden designs is having to keep the weeds from creeping back into your garden area. Sometimes you have to make a plan to weed daily to make sure that your garden looks just the way you want it to look. That's not as much of a problem when you put down a good layer of mulch, as you'll see in this picture. For a bit of variety, this homeowner has changed the colors of the mulch, with the light brown mulch around the trees and the red mulch in the other area. Small rocks can also act as a weed blocker, and they're used here as a contrast to the two types of mulch. 11. Keeping the tree. This is another backyard landscaping idea that won't require a lot of water to keep up. Rather than focusing on a stone patio on the ground, this homeowner has created a vast space using wood. This particular idea allows there to be different levels of patio, which gives the space an interesting look. Bamboo planted in a line will eventually form a wall of privacy, which is a nice, natural look. An interesting thing they chose to do was to leave the tree growing in the space, building the deck around the tree and having green plants sneak up through the hole. Cutting down a tree that large would have taken away the natural shade it provides, so this will keep things cool and protect people from getting sunburned. 12. A flower-shaped garden. If you're looking for cute garden ideas to go with your home decor, you'll love this idea. A winding brick path ends up at a circular area that's just the right size for a small coffee table. Jutting off of this circle are smaller half circles filled with flowers. When you look at it from this angle, it almost looks like a flower-shaped patio, and it provides a nice little retreat. Note that with the small corners between the separate petals of the design, you'll need to use a weed whacker to cut the grass. Be careful not to cut the flowers as well. 13. Look up. You'll find that most backyard design ideas focus on the various ways you can arrange flowers and other plants in the yard. This homeowner has taken landscape design to a whole new level, literally. The small circular patio area is the perfect size for a table for two, and the surrounding pergola with beautiful roses will make you feel like you're in a room made of flowers. The chandelier adds an unexpected touch that could be practical for enjoying the space in the nighttime. 14. A room of your own. If you're the type of person who spends summers inside to avoid the sun's harsh rays, consider how this creative gazebo will allow you to be outside and inside at the same time. The path in this backyard design is interesting because it cuts through one of the landscaped areas rather than going around it. The tall plants in the area of flowers add depth and color, but they also hold a secret. If you look closely, you'll see that they're hiding a patio table on the other side. This gives you the privacy you might want, creating a cozy little nook in the garden. What good is a well-planned backyard design if you're not going to actually use the space? Here, rustic stones create a path through the landscaped area to reach a garden swing. It's the perfect spot to relax the day away. If you'd like even more color than this look provides, consider adding vining flowers to the pergola above the swing. Sweet-smelling varieties will make this an even better place to hang out. If you live in an area that doesn't get a lot of rain, you'll want to think twice about backyard landscaping ideas that focus on lush greenery and mounds of flowers. Here, the backyard is primarily made up of wooden planks and stone squares, which don't require water. Small areas of native plants help create that backyard feel that you want without driving up your water bill. If you're not sure which plants are native to your area, speak with a professional landscaper or someone who works in a local nursery. One of the biggest challenges in most garden designs is having to keep the weeds from creeping back into your garden area. Sometimes you have to make a plan to weed daily to make sure that your garden looks just the way you want it to look. That's not as much of a problem when you put down a good layer of mulch, as you'll see in this picture. For a bit of variety, this homeowner has changed the colors of the mulch, with the light brown mulch around the trees and the red mulch in the other area. Small rocks can also act as a weed blocker, and they're used here as a contrast to the two types of mulch. This is another backyard landscaping idea that won't require a lot of water to keep up. Rather than focusing on a stone patio on the ground, this homeowner has created a vast space using wood. This particular idea allows there to be different levels of patio, which gives the space an interesting look. Bamboo planted in a line will eventually form a wall of privacy, which is a nice, natural look. An interesting thing they chose to do was to leave the tree growing in the space, building the deck around the tree and having green plants sneak up through the hole. Cutting down a tree that large would have taken away the natural shade it provides, so this will keep things cool and protect people from getting sunburned. If you're looking for cute garden ideas to go with your home decor, you'll love this idea. A winding brick path ends up at a circular area that's just the right size for a small coffee table. Jutting off of this circle are smaller half circles filled with flowers. When you look at it from this angle, it almost looks like a flower-shaped patio, and it provides a nice little retreat. Note that with the small corners between the separate petals of the design, you'll need to use a weed whacker to cut the grass. Be careful not to cut the flowers as well. Love fantastic garden ideas of all stripes, and if you're familiar with our site, you know that we love to share our very favorites. For this gallery, we searched around to find the most eye-popping ideas that are achievable in the average backyard. Some of these are simple DIY projects, while others involve purchasing specific decorative and functional products. The unifying theme is that they are all subtly gorgeous additions to any backyard. Whether you've got a sprawling lawn, an extensive garden, or a relatively compact space to work with, you'll surely find something here that captures your imagination. The more natural, subtle ideas are often our favorites because they often sneak into our view with a fresh sense of surprise. Another common element with these ideas is that they all appear seamlessly woven into their respective environments. There's nothing out of place or stylistically incoherent about these gorgeous gardens and backyards. One of the biggest compliments that can be paid to an elaborate backyard garden setup is that it looks to have been all designed together in one cohesive sprint. Each element perfectly complements the others in a fluent language. With subtly gorgeous projects like the ones we shared below, that goal is easily attainable. Without further ado, let's get on with these fantastic backyard garden ideas. 1. Garden statues. Garden statues. While this option can range in price from relatively cheap to wildly expensive, depending on your taste in garden statues, it's one of the most classic and elegant garden decorating solutions out there. People have been planting statues in the landscape almost as far back as written history goes, so there's a lot of tradition behind this idea. Whether you're dropping something small and subtle, as pictured above, or something much more substantial in your garden, you'll be enjoying a fundamentally timeless decoration. 2. Rock border. Rock border idea. The great thing about this project is that it requires a relatively low amount of work for such fantastic-looking results. With a great selection of stones, either purchased or gathered by hand, you can simply dig a shallow trench and fill them however you prefer. The look depends on the type of stones chosen and can be tailored to your tastes. 3. Stone path. Stone paths are a classic touchstone, pun intended, of gardens everywhere. They come in all shapes and sizes and can be anything from purely decorative to highly functional. This particular set is sunk just slightly into the lawn for a discreet look that's easy to run a mower over without trouble. 4. Pink garden boxes. So remember how we talked about these projects being seamlessly integrated into their environments? We didn't necessarily mean that they'd blend in. This idea is a testament to the power of stark contrast and, well, bright pink. It's an unexpected, bright burst of color in a neutral, natural environment and frames the garden in a really exciting way. 5. Raised garden boxes. Raised garden boxes. We love garden boxes because they're not only functional, they add a fresh layer of beauty to any garden. First of all, they'll raise your plants and frame them in a handsome fashion while keeping them protected from trampling feet and even water damage during heavy rain. 6. Circular stone path. Circular stone path. We showed you an example of stone walking paths already, but this idea is all about flaunting the stones rather than sinking them discreetly into the lawn. The project above set the broad circular stones into a pebble garden, where they appear to float over the surface, but you could set yours onto the soil or other types of ground as well. 7. Garden pond. Garden pond. We absolutely love garden ponds, so of course we had to include one in this list of favorite backyard garden ideas. A garden pond takes a lot of hands-on work, so you'll either need time and materials or the money to pay someone to do it. But one glance at the image above shows just how completely the results justify the effort. There are 1,000 ways to craft a pond in your backyard, but only you know how to best shape one. 8. Red garden bench. Red garden bench. Sometimes bright colors and contrast are just what's needed. The best part of this particular project is that they match the shade of the gorgeous flowers with the benches, making for a truly cohesive accent to the garden. The leggy geraniums are a beautiful addition. 9. Patterned color flower BEM. Flower bed along house. A full garden is a happy garden, no? It sounds about right to us. Everyone loves seeing a garden that's absolutely flush with flowers from end to end, but taking it a step further ensures some spectacular results. Try patterning your colors, setting different plants against each other, and generally creating attractive layouts for your garden, so it looks like a single planned work of art. Adirondack chairs make the perfect seating complement to any garden. They're a favorite of deck dwellers and patio patrons everywhere for their comfort and unique look. Most are plain natural wood-toned, so try painting one a favorite shade, matching the flowers in your garden, and see what kind of beauty erupts. 11. Flower-draped pergola. Flower-draped pergola. Pergolas are another longtime favorite yard element of ours. These structures add a dose of complexity and rigid lines to the outdoor environment and mesh perfectly with the plants around them. Try running vines or roses up your own pergola to effectively transform it into a vertical garden. 12. Raised herb garden. Raised herb garden. We already covered raised gardens, but we wanted to include the idea of doing so for your herb garden. This makes for a handy way to make them stand out, defining the herb space as distinct from the rest of your garden. It also frames them in an attractive, timeless fashion. 13. Rooftop container garden. Rooftop container garden. Maybe you don't have a lot of backyard space, or any at all. If you live in an apartment building, however, you might have plenty of balcony or rooftop space with which to plant a garden anyway. There are thousands of container gardens to choose from, so the style is entirely up to you. Whatever you can fit comfortably up there, have at it. There's really no wrong way to plant your own rooftop garden. 14. Bird bath garden. Bird bath garden. While birds love baths, and we love watching them, sometimes you can get a lot more enjoyment out of a bird bath by turning it into a bespoke container garden. There are virtually no limits on what can be planted in one, as long as you take the time and effort to plan it out. With the variety and scale of bird baths available, you're sure to find one that fits your tastes and your yard. 15. Brick path lined with flowers. Brick path lined with flowers. This idea basically combines a brick or stone walking path with an expertly curated flower bed that runs alongside. The flowers add a whole host of attraction to the place, while helping to frame the walking path. This is a project that takes a lot of time, but not much money to achieve. 16. Compact backyard garden. Compact backyard garden. Here's a great example of what can be accomplished within a limited backyard space. When you don't have all the room in the world to move about, you want to make sure that you're doing the most with what you have. The detail is absolutely packed in here with container gardens, standard flower beds, a trellis fence with ivy, and a nice little furniture set to enjoy it all from. 17. Intricate flower garden. Filled out garden. Earlier in our list, we highlighted the possibilities when you have a very filled out garden that's arranged in patterns. This idea takes that notion a step further, with an intricate array of alternating plant colors, expertly placed flowers, and an overall design that was planned from the get-go. It's ambitious, but the results speak for themselves. 18. Topiary archway. Topiary archway. This is a project that requires considerable skill, so unless you're already an expert, you'll want to hire one. One look at the image above is all you need to know about how fantastic it looks. A completely natural, grown archway or really any other large-scale piece is a stunning addition to any backyard. 19. Deeply carved landscape. Deeply carved landscape. We love in-depth landscaping projects that reshape the ground itself, forming to the project rather than working with what's already there. With a hilly backyard, this project carved out a sloped place for stone tiers, well-placed trees, and an exotic variety of flowers. It completely redefines the backyard. 20. Ornate garden bench. Ornate garden bench. Here in the same backyard as our previous example, we see the other side of the lawn, as well as a closer view of that deep landscaping. Across from the garden, we've got a pebble path where a singular wrought iron bench sits. It's a perfect visual accompaniment as well as a great place to enjoy the garden from. Speaking of the landscaping, check out the cascading water feature at the center. 21. Stone wall garden tiers. Stone wall garden tiers when you're doing a heavy landscaping project that involves reshaping the earth. You're already going big, so why not consider the possibilities of using well-odd-shaped stone walls to create tiered gardens?